if we're talking about optimizing your health and finding the right diet for you, you have to ask yourself those questions and you have to look at your gut.
This is episode number 234 of the Life, Strength, and Health podcast. I'm Kim and I'm joined with Jamal.
Greetings, everyone.
And
peace and blessings.
Yes. And thank you for joining us this week. You know, there's so many diets that are available. You know, when you look online, you see success story after success story of people having health transformations, reversing health imbalances. And it's so enticing to try all of them. And sometimes it could be so overwhelming. So in this episode, we're going to dive into how to decide what is the best diet for you. But before we dive into that, just a few announcements. As I mentioned in the previous episode, we were in the process of moving at the end of October. We left our previous office location in South Plainfield, New Jersey, because our wellness center is located in New Jersey. And we're in the process of finding a new home. We're not rushing the process, and we're looking to find a new place early in 2021. But just like during the first quarantine or the quarantine that we had, we moved everything to our home office and we are still working with our clients. We are doing virtual consultations. We're continuing to work with our existing clients. And we actually just started a health support group that we're very excited about, geared towards rebalancing your gut health. So we have a group going through that. So there's a lot of things coming down the pike and we're super excited about it. But I just wanted to make that announcement again, that we are in the process of moving. We'll probably find a new place early in 2021. We're still offering virtual consultations, and we're suspending our colon hydrotherapy and massage therapy sessions until we find a new office. We are still offering our health products. We've been selling masks, KN95 masks, and we also sell hand sanitizer and all health supplements of things of that nature. So I just wanted to, share that again and make sure you subscribe to the show and also, subscribe to our email list. And definitely there we'll be sharing our status updates in terms of finding our new home. And that's the best way to stay connected with us. So now let's move into the testimonial of this episode. And this episode's testimonial comes from Alexandria. And Alexandria said, Jamal was amazing, patient, and helped to make this journey feel less intimidating. Thank you. Thank you, Alexandria, for those kind words.
Yes, thank you.
And we wish you much health success. Now, Alexandria was a client that came to us and received a virtual consultation. And our virtual consultations is also what we called our health assessment. And the whole thing behind that is to help people to get a better understanding, get clarity on what health challenges they may be experiencing, or maybe something that's going on within their body. And then we provide a holistic approach and perspective to getting healthier. And that's what Alexandria is referencing in her testimonial. And if you're someone who is looking to improve their health, with everything going on, the immune system is like the first line of defense of facing any disease. And if you're looking to approach, getting healthier and rebalancing yourself from a holistic perspective, then we would love to work with you. And we are doing that now via our virtual consultations. And if you would like to schedule an appointment or learn more, just go to lifestrengthandhealth.com/schedule. That's lifestrengthandhealth.com/schedule. This episode is for anyone who's interested in optimizing their health through nutrition. You have a need or a desire to rebalance your body, and you just want to feel better, and you want to determine what the best route for you in doing this is. And as I mentioned before, there's so many diets that are out there. You have the keto, low fat, plant-based, Pescatarian, Paleo, you have blood type, low 5 map, and then sometimes people pull a little from each, but the list can go on and on.
Yeah, I agree. How do you know which diet is for you? Because I even see people, they almost get in like camps where it's like you might be team keto and you're against plant-based, or you might be plant-based and you're against keto, right? People just flip-flop trying to find the right path. We just seem to be in a society of extremes, right? It's like the diet that I'm doing is the right way, it's the best diet, and it's the way to go. But when we look at all of these different diets and lifestyles, we see people that are doing very well on these things. And we also see people that aren't doing very well, right? So we can't say that one diet is the answer, because some people do well, some people don't. We started looking at the commonalities of all of the different diets and what made them work, what makes them not work. It really comes down to the individual. It comes down to the individual,
right?
A lot of times, because, you know, all of these diets, they have their own pros and cons, right?
And when you look on social media, right, and, you know, you see people who eat a vegan diet or paleo, you're always first going to see the success stories, right? The major health transformations, the major weight loss journeys. So it's very enticing. But like you said, there's also people that when they eat certain diets, they have negative health effects.
Right. And I think that it's also important to understand that when you do something in the beginning and you're feeling good, it's like the best thing in the world. You just say, oh, this is the way. I found it. It's absolutely this. Everyone needs to do this. What you're doing, it's not working for you because you're doing the wrong thing. You need to do this. And that's the attitude that we usually take on. But what about the people that, like you said, Kim, what about the people that start something and they're not feeling good and it's not for them, but they do something else and it works? So,
or people try a new diet, experience like health, feel good
in the beginning,
and then they keep doing it, start feeling bad, but don't look at the way they're eating as maybe the cause.
Right. So we're saying all of this to say is that there's not necessarily the right diet for everyone. There are some right things for everyone, but not exactly the right diet. You know, there's always going to be some differences. So I do think it's important for us to expand our perception and just know that the path isn't always straight. The path isn't always cut and dry. But there are typical paths to wellness. Usually that begins with working out. When people decide that they want to be healthier, the first thing that they do is hit the gym, right? Everyone, or walk, or do cardio, or whatever the case may be. Yes, some type of exercise, whether you're following, during this climate, doing some online things. Working out seems to be the first place that people start. At the beginning of the year, when people start their New Year resolutions and everyone wants to get healthier, everyone wants to lose weight, what's the first thing that they do? They join the gym, right? And the gym is packed. It's
the first 2 months of the year.
full of capacity, right? Full to capacity. The gyms are. That's the first path. And people work really hard. And what happens is, like you said, Kim, within those first 2 months, people aren't seeing the results. So they stop. They fall off because things aren't progressing the way that they thought. Or people work out and they don't get results and they stop.
They stop.
Right?
They get discouraged.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The second area, which is a typical path, is nutrition. People will change their diet. They'll usually start to exercise first, and then they also make changes with the diet.
Mm-hmm.
I put the workout as the priority because a lot of times people will work out but not change their diet. They think that they're going to work out and work themselves into better health single-handedly. And then you have the nutrition, which is like secondary, but we always say that that's the most important piece of the puzzle.
It's the foundation.
Is the nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
They say that, a big part of health, 80%, 70 to 80% of your health is the nutritional piece. And that 20% encompasses everything else, including exercise. So those are the two main components that people usually go to first. I would argue in terms of nutrition, the place that they start at in nutrition might not be the best place to start, but at least they're starting with food.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a third place that people might start because it's becoming more trendy. More and more people are doing it. And that's detoxification. Some people will add in some detox components. We do colon hydrotherapy at Life Strength and Health. And a lot of times when people come in for colon sessions, they'll say that they're starting their new health journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's their form of detox. And they'll come in, they'll get their colon cleanse, or they'll do a juice fast or a smoothie fast, or they'll go buy an over-the-counter detox kit.
Or the master cleanse.
Right. Or they'll do the master cleanse or something like that. So there are a few people that will detox first. But those are the main three areas when it comes to health, but we don't really look at other things for what they really are. So, like we were saying, when it comes to health, obviously the biggest piece of the puzzle is nutrition. But it's not just nutrition, because clean eating, for example, to me, is going to be different than clean eating for you. So it's easy to say eat clean, but even everyone's definition of eating clean is different. So, for example, like our definition of eating clean is quite different than what it may have been 10 years ago, right? We were just at the grocery store and we were looking at this one product. It was a pureed pumpkin, and it was pumpkin and butternut squash bisque.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're looking at the ingredients in it, and it had the pumpkin, mashed pumpkin, the pumpkin puree. Mm-hmm. It had the butternut squash puree, but then it had canola oil and it had brown sugar in it, and everything else was like, some carrots and garlic and things like that. Mm-hmm. And, we looked at it and said, oh, this is full of crap. You know what I'm saying? and we put it back. But there's a lot of people out there that they look at brown sugar and canola oil as like, that's it. And it's all like they would look at that as great and all natural. Right. So we can't just say eat clean. Right. It's not like that's not enough to say eat clean.
Right. It's different levels to the eating clean.
Right. Mm-hmm. So the most important thing when it comes to diet and nutrition are some basic components that is very important for you to look at, right? And if you follow this method, it will help you to find your way.
Right.
Because your way is not my way, and it could be different, right? Your way could be a little bit different than your friend's way, a little bit different than your spouse's way, your parents' way. It could be a little bit different depending on where you're at, what stage you're at. So it's important when we're thinking about diets and nutrition, we have to look at where we are and where we need to be. So the first thing is, what is your current state of health? Because that's very important. Because if you need to lose weight, for example, your requirements are going to be different from a person that needs to gain weight. So that's very important to look at and to understand, right? What nutritional needs do you currently have in order to rebalance your body and optimize your health?
And I think those two questions, when you don't answer them and you start on your health journey, that's when, as you mentioned, in a typical path of wellness of, people normally work out and then they look at the nutrition and then maybe they consider detoxing. Your current state of health and your nutritional needs, it starts you on the path. It gives you clarity, because if you don't know where you're starting and you just start something, it's just kind of like guessing and hoping that it works. You know what I'm saying? Or when you experience health challenges. So if you have some issues with your blood sugar level, and you start to say, oh, I'm going to eat a raw foods diet, and you like black out on fruits because they're cleansing and they are healthy, a healthy component of your diet, for you, that's more of a detriment. You know what I'm saying? So you could just be doing damage because you're not aware of the imbalances that you're starting with.
And I think that's a good point, because usually if you have a blood sugar imbalance, your energy can be low, and you're going to want to reach for sugar to bring your energy levels up, right? So you have low energy because your blood sugar is imbalanced and you're reaching for sugar, but someone else with low energy, it could be because their iron is low,
right?
And they're reaching for sugar, or your sugar is low and you're reaching for iron, right? So it's important to have a really good understanding of where you're at, your own individual needs to help you. It's not just like, oh, this diet is working for everyone, or I heard that this diet is the best diet. Because one of the things that we have come to learn is that there is no best diet.
Exactly.
Yeah, there is no best diet.
It's what does your body need? What does my body need? And then you go from there. It has to start from there.
Usually when a person looks at a holistic approach, they're thinking about, oh, I'm going to detoxify my body. There's so many people that now want to detoxify, but we get people in front of us that their body is so like stressed from their lifestyle that detoxification will continue to stress their bodies out even more.
They're so deficient that detoxing is going to strip the little bit they have left, and
it's going to cause more problems, right? So I think that, like Kim said, those two questions are the most important thing that you can ask yourself when it comes to taking your health to the next level. What is your current state of health, and what are your needs in order to address your current state of health?
And that's where, if you're not well versed enough to answer those questions on your own, that's when you work with a qualified health practitioner to help you on that process, to simplify that process for you.
Yeah, and that's really important. It's really important to get help. I think that's really important. And for some reason, when it comes to nutrition, because people get a certain level of success, they automatically become experts in their minds. They become experts. So what happens is now they're recommending what they did to everyone, and not being mindful that what they're doing worked for them, but it doesn't mean that it's going to work for other people.
Because you don't know the state of their health.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing with with health and wellness, how everyone becomes experts. We have people that come to us for help, and they'll have friends or family members that are discouraging our recommendations, and they're recommending additional things or other things to what we recommend, and they're not qualified to do that. So when you understand that your your health is unique and your requirements are unique, you have to think about that for other people as well.
Right.
You know, it should be more like, this worked for me and it may work for you, but you just need to look a little bit deeper to make sure that this is the right thing for you.
Exactly.
Another thing that's really important, another important piece of the puzzle, is the state of your gut.
Yes.
Your digestive system, right? We all heard of the saying, you are what you eat.
But we really need to say, we are what we digest.
Right. You are what you digest. You are what you assimilate. You are what you absorb, right?
Because no matter how good the food is, how expensive it is, when you eat it, if your body is not able to break it down and access the nutrients of the food, then you're not fully getting all the benefit from it.
Right. In the holistic health field, a popular saying is that death begins in the gut, and also health begins in the gut.
Yes.
So that's really the most important place. When you're asking those other questions, we're thinking about the gut as well, and the state of your gut, and that's going to determine how those two questions are answered, because those are very important, right?
There's so many people that that come in or work with us, and like you said, they maybe they heard about a specific diet from, you know, social media or a family member or a friend or a coworker, and they begin to implement it, and they're like, okay, I'm eating the salad, but I'm bloated. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand, like, vegetables are good, or I eat beans, but I'm bloated and it constipates me, and and they keep eating it,
right?
Because they're saying, well, it's healthy, it's better than McDonald's, which it is, but it's healthy, so they keep eating it, and then their health just keeps going, like, it just keeps going down that slow decline, because if your food isn't digesting, it becomes toxic to your body.
Right. Absolutely. So we have to look at the effects on poor gut health, which is absorption, how well you absorb and break down the foods that you're consuming, how it affects your immunity, because your bacteria in the gut and on your entire body, that is your first line of defense.
Right.
So if your bacteria is off, you have weakened immunity.
And that's a big thing now, like the immune system.
Right.
It's not no time to have a weak immune system.
During this climate, exactly. 80% of your immune system takes place within your gut.
Right.
So if that's such a big part of your immunity, then during these times, you should be locked in on that 80%. What are we hearing in this climate right now when it comes to natural immunity? We're hearing vitamin C. We're hearing take vitamin D. We're hearing take maybe some echinacea or some oregano oil. Like, we're hearing about all of these supplements and herbal remedies.
Right. But it goes back to the saying, you are what you digest.
Yeah.
So if you're taking these supplements, which you should, but then you're not able to absorb or break them down and access the nutrients, then you're not getting the benefit.
Right. As well as there just not being any talk about, okay, you need to work on your gut, because like the bacteria is very important. That's a line of defense. No one's talking about, let's lock in on your gut health during COVID.
Or how is your gut health?
Right. We're not looking at those things, because that's going to affect you hormonally. It's going to affect you physically. It's going to affect you, your physiology, psychologically. It's going to affect you emotionally. It's going to have an effect on all of these things.
All of them.
Just by your gut being out of balance. And that's not what we're looking at. So I think that if we're talking about optimizing your health and finding the right diet for you, you have to ask yourself those questions and you have to look at your gut. So again, what is your current state of health?
Right.
What nutritional needs do you have in order to rebalance and optimize your health? And what is the state of your gut?
Yes.
Those major
Pivotal
components
questions. Yes.
is what is going to help you individualize your diet. And it's very important to be open to whatever that may be.
Right. Because the diet, it's supposed to answer those questions or provide the answer to those questions. So maybe not get so caught up on the diet per se, but what the diet can do.
Right. Exactly. What is it going to do for you? We get so many people that already have it in their mind what they want to do, right? What they want to do. But then when we look a little bit deeply at what it is that their body needs for them to do, because they're so stuck on what they wanted to do, it's hard to accept what they need to do. Mm-hmm. And they end up doing what they want to do.
I mean, we're just the guides on the side, but we're
right.
just a guide. Like, and ultimately you have to take action and you have to implement it on your own.
Right.
But we help you to simplify it, give you clarity, and provide like a framework. So all you have to do is focus on the action and not the trial and error.
Right.
And this works and this doesn't, and wasting all this money.
Yeah.
That's what we help people to do.
If you're pre-diabetic, but in your mind you thought that, this is just an example, by the way, but in your mind you thought that being a fruitarian and eating all raw was going to help to heal your body.
Which it has helped many.
Right.
But in this situation,
this situation, mm-hmm. that's poisonous for you to eat all fruits, all sweet fruits when you're pre-diabetic. That could be disastrous, but you were locked in on these raw foods being your savior.
Right.
And now you realize that it's really your poison. Right. That's hard. So the best thing that you can do is to be open.
Be open.
No matter what you hear, because everyone, when they create these diet plans and these outlooks and things like that, they're so adamant and they're so absolute by it. And they're showing you all of these testimonials and these results. And although they may be true, it just doesn't necessarily mean that it's true for you.
Everyone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we've been seeing over the course of maybe the past, I want to say 6 years, over the past 6 years, we're seeing that healing can take place from so many different positions. Yes. Foods that you may think are poisonous are healing people, right? Paths that you think aren't the greatest paths for some people are very healing, and the paths that you feel are the most healing for you might not be, right? So the biggest takeaway, I think, in addition to all of these things that we're sharing, is just being open, having an open mind, being open to the journey, mm-hmm. and just trusting your body, trusting what your body is saying that it needs. Right. If you're consuming something, no matter how beneficial you think it is for you, if you're following a certain lifestyle and it's not working, be honest. Be honest about if it's working or not.
Right. Continue to grow. And like you said, keep an open mind. Just don't get so locked into one thought process or one way of doing. Because that's true in any area of our life, right? When you kind of stay fixed on one way, you could be missing other avenues that are more beneficial. So that's also very important.
Right. Because I know for me, speaking personally, when I opened up my consciousness to all possibilities of healing, I begin to see all possibilities of healing, right? That's how it works. So be open.
Don't be afraid to pivot.
Right.
This 2020 is the year of the pivot. If you stay stuck in 2020, it's really a rough year. Like, this is a year that has caused so many of us to change the way we live and just our day-to-day life. And the same thing holds true to our nutrition and just our health. Like, this is the time to focus on our health. It's just not one way to do it. That's just important to remember.
And what I see is, on this journey of holistic health and natural living, you can superimpose this journey over any aspect of your life and it still applies. You know, on any level of success, it applies.
Right.
So when we say pivot in 2020, or it's going to be rough, you know, like that rough spot, it could actually cost you your life.
Yes.
You know, your livelihood, if you're not able to pivot and be open to change. And if you can't be like water, right? And be able to flow and reform and change directions and reinvent yourself. Right. If you're not able to do that on any level, not just nutrition, you're going to run into challenges. You're going to run into blockages. And eventually it's going to break you down.
Right. So that is the conclusion of this episode. And before we go, you know, we mentioned about working with a qualified health practitioner if you are someone who needs more clarity on understanding what's your current state of health or what imbalances do you currently have, and you need assistance with addressing that from a holistic perspective. That is our mission at Life Strength and Health. It's our mission to help people to optimize their health by focusing on gut health. We focus on the health and integrity of your digestive system, and we give you the education, support, and accountability to help you to reach your health goals. So if this sounds like something you need, we would love to work with you. And we work with people all over the world. So to schedule an appointment or to learn more, just go to lifestrengthandhealth.com/schedule. That's lifestrengthandhealth.com/schedule. And we are currently running a special for new clients on our website. You can download a $20 off coupon that will be texted to your cell phone. Just go to our website, lifestrengthandhealth.com/schedule, and a pop-up will come up. Put your name and cell number in, and we'll text it to you immediately. So thank you for listening. Hopefully you receive value from it. The show notes page for this episode is lifestrengthandhealth.com/234. That's lifestrengthandhealth.com/234. So stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks again for listening. And until next time, live healthier.
Stay healthy, everyone. Peace and blessings.